Gaurigaud. Today's topic is Introduction to Business Communication. Let's begin with general introduction. Good business communication is important for any business, and employers know that if they can improve communication in their organizations, they can reap benefits including improved employee satisfaction, increased customer satisfaction, the generation of positive word of mouth, and employees who serve as ambassadors in the community. A focus on ensuring good business communication can reap many benefits for employers. Thus, we can say that communication is the lifeblood of the business. No business can develop in the absence of effective communication system. Now, the question is, what is communication? Communication may be defined as exchange of ideas, thoughts, feelings or information between two or more persons for a mutual understanding and a desired action. It is the exchange of facts, ideas, viewpoints which bring about commonness of interest, purpose and efforts. The term business communication is used for all messages that we send and receive for official purpose like running a business, managing an organization, conducting the formal affairs of a voluntary organization and so on. The success of any business to a large extent depends on efficient and effective communication. It takes place among business entities within organizations and between employees, owners, employers and employees and buyers and sellers, service providers and customers, salespersons and prospects, and also between people within the organization. All such communication impacts business. Communication is essence of management. Organizations these days are very large and involve a number of people with various levels of hierarchy. Greater the number of levels, the more difficult is the job of managing the organization. The basic function of management, that is planning, organizing, staffing, directing, controlling, cannot be performed well without effective communication. Business communication involves constant flow of information, or we must say communication is a dialogue, it is not a monologue. In fact, communication is more concerned with the dual listening process. For communication to be effective, the message must mean the same thing to both sender and receiver. Communication may be intentional or unintentional. It may involve conventional or unconventional signals, may take linguistic or non-linguistic forms, may occur through spoken or other modes in a simple words. Effective communication is very important as it addresses organizational concerns. Good communication may help to increase job satisfaction, safety, productivity, profits and decrease grievances and turnover. There are basically three types of business communication: downward, upward and horizontal. Downward communication is the flow of information from top of the organizational management hierarchy to the employees, superior to the subordinates. It is important for informing people in the organization about the aim, mission, policies and more. Downward communication generally provides information which allows a subordinate to do something, for example, instructions on how to complete a task. Certain objectives of downward communication are: first is information transmission, second it gives instructions, third increase efficiency, fourth is receive feedback, fifth two-way discussion, sixth is announce decisions, seventh it seeks cooperation, eighth is provide motivation and last is it boosts morale. Another is upward communication. Upward communication is flow of information from employees to management or subordinates to superior. Without upward communication, management works in vacuum, not knowing if the messages have been received properly or if other problems exist in the organization. For effective two-way organizational communication to occur, it must begin from the bottom. So, there are certain objectives of upward communication, which are: first is information exchange, second share or offer ideas, third is it provides feedback, fourth it expresses enthusiasm, fifth is it achieves job satisfaction. But downward and upward communication are collectively called as vertical communication. Third one is horizontal communication. Horizontal communication basically involves coordination and allows people in the same hierarchy in an organization to cooperate or collaborate. Communication among the employees at the same level is crucial for the accomplishment of the assigned work. Certain objectives of horizontal communication are: it resolves problem, second is it creates goodwill, third it accomplishes task, fourth is it improves teamwork, fifth raise efficiency. Now, moving ahead with process of communication. Communication is a continuous process of exchanging verbal and non-verbal messages. This message must be conveyed through some medium or to the recipient. It is necessary that the message must be understood by the recipient in the same way as intended by the sender and must be responded within the desired framework. Thus, communication is a two-way process and is incomplete without a feedback from the recipient to the sender on how well the message is understood by him. Let us discuss the main components of communication process. First is context. Communication is affected by the context in which it takes place. This context may be of four types: physical, social, chronological or cultural. We often hear of the importance of the word context. Every communication exceeds with context wherein the sender chooses the message to communicate within that context. Second is sender or encoder. Sender or encoder is a person who sends the message. A sender makes use of symbols, which could be words or graphics or visual aids, to convey the message and produce the required response. Sender may be an individual or a group or an organization. The verbal and non-verbal symbols chosen are essential in ascertaining interpretation of the message by the recipient in the same terms as intended by the sender. Third is message. The key idea which a sender wants to communicate is called message. It is a sign that elicits the response of recipient. Communication process begins with deciding what message needs to be conveyed. It must be ensured that the main objective of the message is clear. Fourth is medium. Means to exchange or transmit a message is termed as medium. The sender must choose an appropriate medium for transmitting the message or risk the possibility of it not being conveyed to the desired recipient. The choice of appropriate medium of communication is essential for making the message effective and correctly interpreted by the recipient. This choice of communication medium varies depending upon the features of communication. Fifth is recipient or decoder. Recipient or decoder is a person for whom the message is intended or aimed. The degree to which the decoder understands the message depends on various factors such as knowledge of recipient, responsiveness to the message and the trust of encoder to decoder. Sixth is feedback. One of the main components of communication process is feedback, as it allows the sender to analyze the efficacy of the message. It helps the sender in confirming the correct interpretation of message by the decoder. Feedback may be verbal or non-verbal. It may take written form also in forms of memos, reports, etc. Now, let us discuss what is corporate communication. To share the information within the business, we need corporate communication. This can be done through two ways: formal and informal communication network. Formal channel of communication is normally controlled by people in positions of authority in the organization. Hence, it is the main line of operational communication in an organization. All kinds of records, reports and other forms that give working information to various parts of organization are part of the formal channel of communication. This kind of communication can be performed in three ways: upward, downward and horizontal, which we have already studied. Moving on to advantages of formal communication. First is increase overall efficiency. Second, it is easy communication system. Third is ease of delegation of authority. Fourth, more emphasis on work. Fifth is it is distortion free. While disadvantages of formal communication are: first is it is time consuming, then it is second is authoritarian, third is inflexibility, fourth is it ignores social needs of employees. Another is informal channel of communication, or in other words grapevine. The network of social and friendly groups in the organization is called informal organizational structure. The informal organizational structure gets created automatically, and the main purpose of such structure is getting psychological satisfaction. The informal channel of communication is often discouraged or looked down upon in an organization and is not officially sanctioned. It is popularly referred to as grapevine. This is because it stretches throughout the organization in all levels despite of the authority levels. As people go about their work, they have casual conversation with their friends in the office. These conversations deal with both personal and business matters, which results in grapevine. Grapevine is classified into four categories. First is single strand. It flows like a chain, that is, A tells something to B, who tells it to C, and so on. Most inaccuracies occur in this chain. As longer the chain, more the distortion. Second is gossip. Here one tells other people in the group. It is mostly unofficial in nature and considered slow in passing the information. Third is probability. The information here moves randomly from anyone to anyone else. It is found where there is interesting but insignificant information. Fourth is, or we can say last is cluster. Here some tell selected others on basis of the trust factor. It is a frequent grapevine pattern in any organization. Let us discuss certain importance of grapevine communication. First is, grapevine channel carry information rapidly. As soon as an employee gets to know some confidential information, he becomes inquisitive and quickly repasses it to the others. Second is, the managers get to know the reactions of other subordinates on their policies, thus the feedback is quickly obtained. Third is, it fills in the gap where official information is missing at times. Fourth is, it creates a sense of unity or social bond among the employees who share and discuss their views with each other, thus group cohesiveness is developed. Fifth is, it is a supplement in those cases where formal communication does not work. While there are certain disadvantages also. First is, it is not trustworthy as it involves the word of mouth. Second is, it usually carries partial information and creates rumor. Third is, at times it hampers goodwill of the organization. Now a question comes to our mind that what is miscommunication then? Or we can say, what are barriers to communication? Miscommunication can be defined as a failure to make information or your ideas and feelings clear to somebody or to understand what somebody says to you. There are certain causes of miscommunication. First is wrong choice of communication. It is very important to select the right medium for message to be conveyed and interpreted properly as intended. If a salesperson has to submit a report of past 3 years, it might not be appropriate to write long paragraphs, instead use tables, graphs. A manager who wants to praise his subordinate will not send a PN to convey the message. he shall do it face to face. Second is semantic barrier. If a receiver is not able to comprehend the message the way sender intends because of unsuitable words or improper sentence formation, it results in semantic barrier. The sender has to take care that the receiver does not misconstrue his message and gets the intended meaning. Quite often it does not happen in this way. It can be ensured only if we aim at clarity, simplicity and brevity. Next is physical barrier. The distracting elements which exist in surrounding environment which does not allow the proper flow of information like noise, lighting, unclear writing, poor verbal skills results in physical barriers. Another is socio-psychological barrier. The emotion, attitudes and opinions placed in society and status consciousness arising from one's position in the hierarchical structure, one's relation with peers, family background, all these deeply affect one's ability to communicate both as a sender and receiver. It leads to socio-psychological barrier. Often it is seen that a man high up in an organization builds up a wall around himself. This restricts participation of less powerful in decision making. In the same way, one's family background formulates the attitude and communication skills. Last is different comprehension of reality. The reality of an object, person or event is different to different people. It is infinite, complex and keeps changing. Everyone has unique mental filter and perception. No two persons perceive in the same manner because of differences in inference, abstraction and evaluation. Moving on to next topic, that is principles of communication. There are 7 C's of principle of effective communication, which are: first is clarity. It means usage of simple language and easy sentence formation while composing a message. It also implies focusing on a specific goal or message at a time rather than trying to achieve too much at once. It becomes easy for receiver to understand the message as intended if the idea is clearly presented. Second is completeness. It means the message must have all necessary information to get the desired response. The 5 W's, that is who, what, when, where and why must be answered in the message. Third is conciseness. It means that the message must only have the information relevant to the topic and nothing irrelevant. It should be precise and to the point in order to save both time and effort of sender and receiver. Fourth is correctness. It means the message must be error free, that is, the sentences must be proper in terms of grammar, punctuation and spelling. The sender must keep in mind the knowledge, status and educational background of the receiver to make it easy. Fifth is consideration. It means taking the receiver into consideration while composing a message. It emphasizes on the you attitude referring to the desire, emotion, problem and response of the receiver. Sixth is concreteness. It means being vivid, specific, explicit and definite in the message rather than vague, general and obscure. Sender must use specific facts and figures, denotative words in order to make the message concrete. Seventh and last is courtesy. It not only means thinking about the receiver, but also valuing his emotions, feelings and attitude. Sender must be tactful, thoughtful, appreciative and respectful towards receiver, helping communicate better. So, these are the 7 C's of effective communication. Let's conclude our discussion. Today, we have discussed communication as a boon to business, its types and their disadvantages and advantages, effective communication and its 7 C's. Thank you.